The colony world of New Terra was quiet, green, and full of peaceful forests. Humans had lived there for nearly 30 years. It wasn't a big planet with huge cities. It was simple. Farmers, workers, and families built small towns and lived quiet lives. In one of those towns lived a 12-year-old boy named Ryan Carter. He was curious, brave, and always full of energy. Ryan loved to explore the forest behind his house. While others played games indoors, Ryan climbed trees, chased animals, and pretended he was a space hero. One day, while walking deeper into the woods than usual, Ryan heard a strange sound. It was like thunder, but the sky was clear. Then he saw something flash across the sky like a shooting star. But this star wasn't burning. It was metallic. It was a ship. Ryan ran toward the crash. He found a small clearing where smoke rose from broken trees. In the middle was a silver escape pod, half buried in the dirt. It hissed and sparked. A glowing blue symbol was on the side, nothing Ryan had seen before. Cautiously, Ryan stepped closer. The pod's door was open slightly. He heard a soft whimpering sound inside. "Hello?" Ryan called. No answer. He pushed the door open. Inside, lying on the floor, was a small figure, a girl. She looked about his age, but she wasn't human. Her skin was light blue and shiny. Her long hair glowed faintly like moonlight. She wore a torn silver dress with strange symbols. Her eyes opened slowly. They were bright violet. Ryan froze. The alien girl looked scared. She tried to sit up but winced in pain. "It's okay," Ryan said softly. "I won't hurt you." The girl blinked at him, breathing fast. Her voice was weak but calm. "Help! Please!" Ryan nodded quickly. He knew he couldn't bring her home. His parents would call the authorities, and who knew what would happen then? She needed safety. He helped her out of the pod and supported her as they walked deeper into the forest. He led her to an old cave he had found weeks ago, a secret place with dry ground and fresh water. "I'll bring food," Ryan said. The girl just nodded. She was too weak to speak more. For the next few days, Ryan snuck out every morning and brought supplies: bread, fruit, water, blankets. He told his parents he was exploring as usual. They didn't ask questions. The girl began to heal slowly. She told him her name was Ayalari. She was a princess from the Ziari Empire, a powerful alien race Ryan had only heard about in school. Her ship was attacked by rebels. She had escaped in the pod, but it had crashed far from her people. "You're a real princess?" Ryan asked, wide-eyed. Elari smiled gently. "Yes, but I'm just Elari now." Ryan grinned. "Well, I'm not a prince, but I'll keep you safe." She laughed for the first time. They spent hours talking each day. Elari told stories of her planet, cities made of crystal, stars that danced in the sky, ships that moved faster than light. Ryan told her about Earth, video games, chocolate, and how trees changed color in autumn. One night, Ryan asked, "Do you miss your family?" Elari looked at the stars above. "Every moment. I don't even know if they're alive." Ryan gently placed his hand on hers. "I promise. I'll help you until they come." She smiled. "Thank you, Ryan." Weeks passed. One afternoon, while they were sitting outside the cave, a strange humming sound filled the air. A large Ziari scout ship appeared above the trees. It was sleek, glowing, and shaped like a silver wing. Elari stood quickly. Her eyes widened. "That's my people!" The ship landed nearby, and several tall alien soldiers stepped out. They bowed when they saw her. One of them, a female in a red robe, ran forward and hugged her. "Princess, we feared you were lost." Elari turned to Ryan. "This is my guardian. She was on the ship too." The woman looked at Ryan with suspicion. "This human helped you?" Yes, Aolari said proudly. He saved me. The soldiers said nothing. More. Aolari walked up to Ryan, her eyes sad but warm. They will take me home now, she said. Ryan tried to smile. That's good. You'll be safe. She reached into her pocket and took out a small glowing charm, a crystal with soft purple light. This is a royal bond token, she said. When I see you again, I'll remember everything. Ryan held it tightly. Will I ever see you again? Aolari leaned forward and whispered, When the stars bring us together, I'll find you. Then she turned, walked to the ship, and disappeared inside. The engines roared, and the ship flew into the sky, leaving Ryan alone. Years later, he would remember that day. The charm never left his pocket. While others forgot childhood dreams, Ryan remembered the alien girl with glowing hair and violet eyes because he had saved a princess. And one day, he believed, she would come back. 15 years had passed since the day Ryan Carter watched the alien ship carry Princess Aolari into the sky. He never forgot her. The glowing charm she gave him still hung on a thin chain around his neck. He wore it every day, under his shirt, close to his heart. Now, Ryan was 27 years old. He worked as a mechanic and combat engineer in Earth's orbital fleet. He had seen war, helped build starships, and repaired engines in the middle of battle. His hands were strong, his body hardened by years of service, but his heart was still soft whenever he remembered that girl in the cave. He often looked at the stars and wondered, did she forget me? Was I just a memory to her? But deep inside, he believed, no, he knew, that she hadn't forgotten. The Xiari Empire had become one of Earth's most powerful allies in the galaxy. After years of cold peace, both civilizations finally agreed to meet face to face. A grand diplomatic event was planned on Earth's main orbital station, floating high above the blue planet. The Xiari royal family was sending its representatives. But no one expected Princess Aolari herself to attend. She was now crowned princess, the future empress of Xiari. Her image was famous across the stars. She was known for her wisdom, strength, and beauty. Her silver-blue skin and glowing hair made her look like a living star. But what people admired most was her kind heart. The station buzzed with excitement. Soldiers stood tall, diplomats practiced their speeches, and crews worked non-stop to prepare the ship docks. Ryan was assigned to maintain the royal docking bay. It was just another job, or so he thought. The moment finally came. The Xiari royal ship, Starseeker's Grace, glided into the bay. It was elegant and massive, covered in light patterns that shimmered like flowing water. As the main ramp lowered, a group of tall Xiari guards stepped out. And then she appeared, Princess Aolari. She wore a flowing gown of silver and violet, with glowing patterns that shifted like stars. Her hair was longer now, still glowing softly. Her eyes searched the room. Ryan stood at the back, in his mechanic's uniform, holding a toolkit. The moment her eyes found him, she froze. And then she smiled. Ryan stood straight, unsure what to do. Should he salute? Bow? Speak? Aolari didn't wait. She walked through the crowd, past her guards, past the officers, and stopped in front of him. Everyone stared. Silence filled the room. Ryan opened his mouth to speak, but before he could say a word, she hugged him. The room gasped. I knew you were alive, she whispered in his ear. Ryan's heart pounded. And I knew you'd come back. Later that day, rumors spread across the station. The Xiari princess hugged a human. She knew him from before. Was he her secret protector? A royal spy? A long-lost friend? But the truth was something far simpler and far more powerful. They were just two people who had shared something real, something deep. Aolari sent a private message to Ryan. Meet me at the observatory dome at night. I wish to speak alone. Ryan didn't hesitate. That night, the stars above Earth sparkled through the glass dome. The station rotated slowly, giving a clear view of the galaxy. Ryan waited there, wearing a clean uniform and still feeling nervous. Then she arrived. No guards, no robes, just a simple dress and soft shoes. She looked more like the girl from the forest than the crowned princess. "I've missed you, Ryan," she said. He smiled gently. "You look different, but the same." "So do you." They sat on a bench and stared at the stars. "I always remembered the cave," she said, "and the warmth, and your kindness." Ryan nodded. "I never forgot you, even when people laughed at me for wearing this charm." He held it up. It still glowed. Ilari's eyes filled with emotion. "I gave that to you because I hoped, someday, I'd find you again." "And now you have," Ryan said softly. There was silence for a moment. Then she said, "I've had many suitors, nobles, warriors, scientists, but none of them made me feel safe like you did. You didn't know who I was, and you still protected me." "I didn't care what you were," Ryan said. "I saw someone who needed help." Ilari looked into his eyes. "And now I see someone I want by my side, not just as a friend." Ryan felt his breath catch. "What are you saying?" "I want you to be part of my future," she said. "Truly, I want you to be the father of my children." Ryan froze. His heart thundered. "I know it sounds sudden," she said quickly, "but I've waited 15 years, and I've seen too many people who only want power or titles. But you gave without expecting anything." He slowly reached out and took her hand. "I always thought I was just a kid who found a princess. I never imagined the princess would remember and still care. I never stopped caring," she whispered. They leaned closer, but didn't kiss. "Not yet. Not here." The next day, Ziari officials were not happy. The Royal Council demanded answers. "You wish to bond with a human? He has no noble blood, no royal line." Ilari stood tall in the meeting hall. "He has something greater: honor, courage, a heart stronger than any title. I have chosen him." Ryan stood beside her, silent but proud. Earth's diplomats were shocked too. They weren't prepared for this, but some began to see the truth. This bond could unite both empires in a way no treaty ever could. The Ziari Empress, Ilari's mother, gave her daughter a quiet nod. "If you truly wish this, he must face the trial of unity." Ryan stepped forward. "I'll do it. Whatever it is, I'll face it." Ilari looked at him with pride. The challenge had begun. To stand beside the princess, to be her partner, to become part of the royal future. Ryan would have to prove himself, not with weapons or words, but with heart, strength, and honor. And deep down, he knew. He didn't just want to protect the princess anymore. He wanted to build a future with her. The news spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. Ziari Princess chooses a human as her bondmate. He was the boy who saved her life 15 years ago. Now he stands beside her, and the council is angry. On Earth, people cheered. On Ziari Prime, people whispered. Some were happy, some were shocked, and some were furious. Inside the Grand Ziari Council Hall, the air was thick with tension. The 12 High Council members sat on glowing chairs, their long robes flowing like liquid light. At the center stood Princess Ilari, her head held high, her voice calm but strong. Beside her stood Ryan Carter, dressed in simple clothes, not royal, but still proud. He didn't wear gold, he didn't carry a sword, but he stood like a warrior, a council elder, with deep violet eyes, spoke sharply. "Princess, this is unacceptable. You cannot bond with a human. He does not have royal blood. He is not Ziari. He does not understand our ways. I understand honor, Ryan said firmly, and I understand love. Murmurs filled the chamber. Another, Counselor hissed. This bond could weaken the royal line. What if your children are not fully Ziari? What if they lack the ancient power? Ilari's voice cut through the noise. The ancient power means nothing without a strong heart, and Ryan has more heart than all of you combined. The Empress, Ilari's mother, sat silently on her throne. She watched with tired eyes, but said nothing yet. The eldest counselor leaned forward. Very well. Let us follow tradition. If the human wishes to bond with our princess, he must pass the trial of unity. Ryan looked at Ilari. She nodded gently. I accept, he said. Later, that night, Ilari and Ryan sat in the royal gardens under a glowing sky. The plants on Ziari Prime glowed softly in the dark, casting colors over their faces. The trial of unity is not easy, Ilari said. Many have failed it. Tell me what I must do, Ryan replied. There are 3 trials, she said. Each one tests a part of you, body, mind, and heart. Only if you pass all 3 can you stand beside me. Ryan smiled. I didn't come this far to stop now. Ilari touched his chest. Then be strong, because the council wants you to fail. Trial 1. The frozen wastes, Ryan was dropped alone in the icy wilderness of Ziari's 3rd moon, known as Vorel. Temperatures fell below freezing. There was no food, no fire, and no technology allowed. He had to survive for 3 days. Day 1, Ryan built a shelter using broken rocks and snow. He used what he remembered from military training: how to find heat under the ground, how to trap small animals, how to melt ice for water. Day 2, a storm hit. Ryan tied himself to a rock wall with vines to avoid being swept away. He lost feeling in his hands, but kept moving. He spoke to himself, whispering Ilari's name to stay awake. Day 3, he found a baby moon wolf, injured and crying. He could have eaten it, but he chose to help it instead. He used herbs and cloth to heal its leg and kept it warm beside him. When the trial ended, a scout ship arrived to take him back. The moon wolf licked his hand before running into the snow. The council watched the recording and said nothing. But, deep inside, they were surprised. He had passed. Trial 2. The Silent Colony. For his second trial, Ryan was sent to a Ziari colony called Carrion, where 2 tribes were fighting over water rights. The leaders refused to speak. The colony was silent, divided, and ready for war. Ryan arrived alone. No guards, no weapons. He spent a full day watching, listening, learning. On the second day, he climbed the main water tower and fixed a broken system that had been leaking water underground. He called both tribe leaders to watch it work. This tower was broken, he said. You blamed each other, but it was the machine. Then he built a simple system to measure water flow and taught the children how to use it fairly. He made both tribes sign a peace deal, drawn with pictures so even the youngest could understand. By the time he left, the children of both tribes ran beside his ship, waving goodbye. The council was shocked again. He had passed without violence, using only reason and kindness. Trial 3. The Duel of Honor. The last trial was a formal duel. Not to kill, but to show courage and respect. Ryan would face Commander Tazian, a Ziari war hero and one of Ilari's old suitors. Tazian was tall, fast, and powerful. His blade moved like wind. Ryan trained for days with a wooden staff. He refused to use plasma swords or armor. The duel was watched by thousands. It took place in the Hall of Blades, where even kings had fought before. The match began. Tazian struck fast, hitting Ryan again and again, but Ryan kept standing. He blocked where he could, dodged when needed, and never gave up. His nose bled, his legs shook, but he never surrendered. Near the end, Ryan saw an opening and struck a clean blow to Tazin's chest, then dropped his weapon and stepped back. "I don't fight to win," Ryan said. "I fight to prove I'm worthy." Tazien looked at him and nodded with respect. The council had no choice. Ryan had passed all 3 trials. The people choose across Ziari. The people watched the news. Many were proud. Some were still unsure. But most could not deny the truth. The human had earned their respect. Ilari stood before her people and said, "Ryan Carter saved my life when I was a child. Now he has saved the hearts of our people. I choose him, not because of a throne, but because of love." Ryan stood beside her, holding her hand. The Empress rose from her throne. "You have passed. You may stand as her equal. May your bond bring peace to both our worlds." As the sun set on Ziari Prime, the royal towers glowed with celebration. For the first time in history, a human stood with the Ziari royal family, not as a guest, but as one of them. But this was just the beginning, because now that Ryan had proven himself, he was ready to build a future. The galaxy had seen many things: wars, empires rising and falling, but no one had seen this before. A human, passing the Ziari royal trials. Ryan Carter was no longer just a mechanic, no longer just the boy who once saved a princess. Now, he stood as a man chosen by her and accepted by her people, and yet, not everyone was happy. In the dark corners of the Ziari Empire, there were nobles and warriors who still believed in old ways. They met in secret, whispered in shadows, and called themselves the Pure Flame. They believed no outsider should ever become part of the royal line. Today a human, tomorrow who knows. Our bloodline must remain pure. One of them growled in a secret meeting. "We must stop this bond," another said, "before it's too late." But in the shining towers of Ziari Prime, everything was being prepared for the royal bonding ceremony. Princess Ailari sat in her private chamber, dressed in a soft gown of silver and blue. Her glowing hair flowed gently down her back. Her hands trembled a little, not from fear, but from excitement. Ryan would soon be hers. Not just in memory, not just in heart, but in truth. There was a knock at the door. Ryan entered, dressed in ceremonial robes. They were simple but strong. Dark blue with silver trim, the colors of unity. "You look nervous," Ailari said with a smile. "I've faced freezing moons, angry councils, and warrior duels," Ryan said. "But nothing scares me more than trying not to trip while walking down that royal hall." Ailari laughed softly. "You'll be perfect." Ryan walked closer. "Are you sure? This will change everything. Your people, your future." She touched his face gently. "I have never been more sure in my life." Then, she placed her hand on his chest, right over the glowing charm he still wore. "This charm brought us together once," she said. "Now, let it be part of our forever." The next day, the bonding ceremony began. Billions across the galaxy watched the live broadcast. The royal hall was filled with light. Flowers from 100 worlds and music played by crystal instruments. Ailari stood in front of the great crystal flame, an ancient symbol of Ziari power and life. Ryan stood across from her. His heart beat fast, but his eyes never left hers. The priest of unity raised his voice. "By the light of the stars and the fire of our ancestors, we ask, do you, Princess Ailari, choose this human as your bondmate?" "I do," she said clearly. "And do you, Ryan Carter of Earth, choose this princess as your bondmate?" "I do," he replied. Then they both stepped forward and placed their hands on the glowing flame. It lit up with bright violet light, the symbol of true connection. Their bond was now official. The crowd cheered. The music rose, and for a moment, the galaxy celebrated with them. But in the middle of the celebration, something went wrong. A loud explosion shook the tower. Guards rushed in, shouting. The sky outside turned dark as rebel ships attacked from above. The pure flame had made their move. Their goal was clear. Stop the bonding and destroy the human. Ilari's guards moved to protect her. Ryan grabbed a weapon from one of them. "We need to get you to safety." "No," Ilari said. "They want to divide us. We stay together." Ryan nodded. "Then we fight together." Outside, rebel ships fired on the palace. Defense towers shot back. The city sky lit up with beams and fire. Inside, the rebels tried to reach the bonding hall. But Ryan and Ilari stood side by side with the royal guards, defending the main door. Ryan fought with skill, using both human and Ziari techniques. Ilari used her energy control powers taught only to royals. Together they pushed back the attackers, but then a rebel leader stepped forward, a huge Ziari with dark red armor. His name was Vornar, once a royal knight, now twisted by hate. He pointed his blade at Ryan. "You do not belong here, human. This throne is not for you." Ryan stood tall. "I didn't come for the throne. I came for her." Vornar charged. Ryan blocked the blow, barely holding the line. The two clashed fiercely. Sparks flew, weapons clanged, and the hall echoed with their fight. Ilari watched, her hands glowing, ready to help. But Ryan held up a hand. "This is my fight." Using his speed and brains, Ryan dodged Vornar's powerful swings and struck back with precision. Finally, he knocked the blade from Vornar's hand and stood over him. Vornar growled. "Finish it." But Ryan shook his head. "No, I'm not like you." He turned away. "Put him in chains," he told the guards. The attack ended. The rebels were defeated. The people saw everything. How Ryan had fought not for power, but for peace. He showed strength, but also mercy. That night, across Ziari and Earth, people cheered. The human who once saved a little alien girl in a forest cave had now saved her kingdom too. In the quiet of the royal garden, Ilari and Ryan stood together, away from the cameras and the crowds. "You protected me again," she whispered. "We protect each other now," he said. She smiled. "Tomorrow the galaxy will ask what comes next." Ryan looked into her eyes. "We build a future, one with laughter and peace, and maybe children." Ilari leaned her head on his shoulder. "Then let's begin." She gently took his hand and placed it on her stomach. Ryan froze. "Is it?" She nodded, eyes shining. "A new life is growing, the child of two worlds." Tears filled Ryan's eyes. "We're really starting a family?" Ilari kissed his cheek. "Yes, and this time no one will take it from us." The stars above twinkled like tiny flames, and in the heart of the galaxy, where a human once walked into a forest, a king was born. The royal towers of Ziari Prime now shone brighter than ever. The darkness of the rebel attack had passed. The people had seen the truth. The human who once stood alone had now become part of something greater. Ryan Carter was no longer just a visitor. He was the bonded mate of Princess Ilari, the future empress. And soon, he would be something even more important: a father. The royal palace was busy with celebration. Servants decorated the halls with banners of violet and silver. Children sang songs about unity. Even the galaxy's leaders sent gifts: scrolls of peace, rare jewels, star plants, and glowing books. But while the world celebrated outside, inside the palace, Ryan and Ilari sat quietly in the royal garden. "Do you think they'll accept our child?" Ryan asked softly, looking up at the stars. Ilari leaned against his shoulder. "Some will, some won't. But it doesn't matter. Our child will be loved, protected, strong. Ryan placed a hand gently on her stomach. It had only been a few weeks since she told him, but already he felt something change inside him. Not fear, purpose. As time passed, Alari's belly grew, and so did the excitement across the galaxy. The child would be half human, half Ziari, the first of its kind. People called it the star-born heir, but with excitement also came danger. One night in the council chamber, a messenger ran in with urgent news. There was an assassination. "Attempt," the man said breathlessly. "Poison in the royal water." Ryan stood quickly. "Is she okay?" "She is safe," the messenger said. "The guards caught the servant before it reached her." Ryan's hands clenched into fists. "They're still trying to stop us." Ilari placed a hand on his arm. "They fear what they cannot control." Ryan nodded. "Then we protect what they cannot destroy, our family." To prepare for the birth, the Ziari elders planned a naming ceremony. It was tradition for royal children to be blessed by the crystal. Flame before birth, but the council hesitated. "This child is not pure Ziari," one elder said. "Should we allow it?" Alari stood with power in her voice. "This child is more than Ziari. It carries the hope of two worlds. If you cannot see that, then you are blind to the future." Even the Empress, Alari's mother, stood. "The flame accepts truth. Let us see what it says." So, in a grand hall filled with light, Alari stepped forward. The crystal flame, ancient and glowing, flickered softly. She placed her hands on her stomach and whispered a blessing in the old language. The flame suddenly blazed with bright golden fire, a rare color never seen before. Gasps filled the room. "The flame, it accepts the child," one elder whispered. Ryan, standing in the crowd, felt a tear slide down his cheek. The months passed peacefully. Ryan trained with the royal guards. He learned the ways of the palace, the laws of the empire, and how to speak the Ziari language fluently. But he never forgot who he was, a simple boy from a forest colony who once hid a scared little girl in a cave. One day he returned to that same colony. With Alari beside him, now visibly pregnant, they walked through the forest where it all began. "This is the cave," Ryan said, brushing aside vines. "This is where I found you." Alari stepped inside, her eyes misty. "It hasn't changed." She touched the stone wall, then turned to Ryan. "Back then I was lost, scared, alone. And you were my light." Ryan took her hand. "And now, you're mine," she smiled. "We should name the child after this place." "What about Lyra?" Ryan suggested. "It means light in the forest in Old Earth language." Ilari nodded. Lyra, perfect. At last, the day of birth came. The palace was silent, waiting. The galaxy held its breath. Inside the royal chamber, Ryan stayed beside Alari, holding her hand, whispering calm words. He had faced battles, storms, and deadly trials, but nothing made his heart beat faster than this moment. Then, with a soft cry, the child was born. A girl, small, glowing slightly, with tiny silver marks on her skin and blue eyes like Alari's. Ryan held her gently, afraid to even breathe. "She's perfect," he whispered. Ilari smiled through tears. "Meet Lyra Carter of House Ziari, first of her kind." Outside, the news spread like fire. Princess Alari and human bondmate. "Welcome, starborn child." Lyra Carter, first human Ziari, royal heir born. Peace child brings hope to two worlds. The celebrations were loud, but inside the palace, Ryan and Alari sat quietly, holding their daughter, watching her sleep. "I was never born to be a king," Ryan said, "but I'll spend my life protecting this little girl like one." "You're more than a king to me," Alari said. "You're the reason I survived, the reason I became who I am." Ryan looked at her. And you're the reason I found my place in the stars. Years later, people would tell the story of the boy who saved a princess and how they built a future no one thought was possible. They would speak of Ryan Carter, the human who passed the trials of unity. They would honor Princess Aelari, the leader who chose love over tradition, and they would remember Lyra, the child born of two worlds, who would one day lead them all. In the end, it didn't matter where you were born. What mattered was the heart inside you, because long ago, in a quiet forest, a human boy reached out to help and changed the galaxy forever.